Discover the incredible turnaround. Rich woman's muddy ACT changes cleaner girl's life forever. Emily stood with her feet planted in the mud, rain pouring down in thick sheets. It felt like the world was drowning just like her dreams, turning everything into a messy blur. At 34, she was a single mother with 2 little ones to care for and bills that always seemed just out of reach. Each day, she woke up before dawn, clutching her damp cleaning supplies, dreading another long day ahead of scrubbing houses in a relentless suburban neighborhood buzzing with wealth and privilege. Yet, Emily's heart swelled with a fierce love for her kids. She wanted them to know that hard work could change their fortune. No matter how heavy the weight of her struggles felt, she smiled through it all because her little ones deserved light and hope. But as she watched the opulent gala unfolding in a nearby mansion, her heart sank. The glitz and glamour on display were worlds away from her reality. Suddenly, dark clouds rolled in, and the downpour began. Guests shrieked and stumbled through the mud, looking for cover. Emily looked on, those polished shoes now ruined, their laughter drowned out by the storm. It should have been a display of indignity, but then, amidst the chaos, she saw Catherine towering in her elegant dress, her designer shoes slick with muck, yet she was grinning ear to ear. Without a moment's hesitation, Catherine rolled up her sleeves and shouted, "Let us clean up this mess." The locals working in the cleaning crew exchanged glances, half in horror and half in awe. But Emily felt a spark ignite within her. As Catherine splashed through the mud, they both grabbed abandoned chairs, moving as one to rid the yard of the wreckage. "That was quite a storm, huh?" Emily laughed, reaching for a fallen table. She marveled at Catherine's lightheartedness. The contrast between their lives felt like a surreal divide. They began to exchange stories of motherhood, their hopes and aspirations spilling like rainwater around them. In that moment, something shifted. Catherine's laughter echoed through the downpour, a warmth against the cold rain. Yet, silhouettes of guests, looking on in disbelief, whispered amongst themselves, "Can you believe it? How could she associate with someone like her?" Emily felt her chest tighten, the judgment stinging like cold raindrops on her skin. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Catherine noticed Emily's discomfort and stepped closer. Just then, a former colleague of Emily's emerged from the group of onlookers, smirking. "Did you really think you could climb up the social ladder like this?" she taunted, her voice dripping with derision. Emily felt her heart racing, the weight of judgment crashing over her like the rain. But within her, a fire ignited. She straightened her back, her hands still caked in mud. "I'm not here to please anyone but myself and my kids. You can't judge my worth by the dust on my shoes." The words rang out, clear and strong amidst the chaos of the party. Catherine watched with admiration, recognizing the strength in Emily's voice. They both sensed an unbreakable bond forming. Yet the world around them remained ready to pull them apart. As storm clouds loomed overhead, Emily wondered if this friendship could withstand the tide of prejudice. Would they emerge victorious, or would the judgment of their worlds keep them forever apart? The answer hung like a raindrop, ready to fall. Emily's heart raced as she locked eyes with Catherine. The rain pounded harder, but in that moment she felt a surge of confidence. It was as if the muddy chaos surrounding them washed away all her fears and insecurities. The laughter of the guests faded into the background, their judgment no longer a weight she had to carry. "Let us just focus on this mess," Catherine said, grabbing another piece of debris and tossing it aside. The playful determination on her face was infectious. Emily followed her lead, feeling buoyed by each shared laugh and muddy squelch beneath their feet. The warmth of kinship folded around them like a shield against the stares of the wealthy partygoers. As the sky grayed above, Emily started to voice her dreams. "I love painting," she admitted, her cheeks stained with both rain and exhilaration. but I never have the time to do it anymore. Her words tumbled out, a small dam of hope breaking. Catherine grinned. You need to make the time. How about I help? We could set up a little art show for your work. I know people who would love to see something genuine. It's just, I don't know if anyone would actually. Emily hesitated, doubt creeping in as quickly as the rain. Stop. You're an artist. You deserve to share that talent. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We can create something beautiful together. Catherine's voice was firm and full of promise, and Emily found herself nodding, a small flicker of hope ignited within. Suddenly, a loud crack of thunder boomed overhead, startling both women. Catherine laughed, her spirit undampened. Guess the universe is on our side. Emily chuckled softly, the sound bittersweet as memories flooded her mind. How often had she dismissed her own passions? How often had she allowed life as harsh realities to drown out her dreams? Was it too late to reclaim that part of herself? As they continued to work, a sense of camaraderie enveloped them. Their hands still filthy, they found solace in their shared mission. They weren't just cleaning up after a storm. They were uncovering a path to a future full of possibilities. But just as Emily felt a sense of belonging bloom in her chest, an older woman reached out from the group of spectators. You think this is going to last? What happens when the rain stops and the guests go back to their lives? The sneer twisted her lips, her eyes glinting with disdain. Emily's heart sank again. It doesn't matter what they think, Catherine said, her voice steady. We control our own narrative. Don't let them dictate your worth. But what if they could? What if the world wasn't ready for a friendship that defied boundaries? The thought gnawed at Emily as she glanced back at the guests, still gawking at this unexpected scene. Amid the mud and rain, she could almost visualize it, a gallery filled with her art, family, and friends all cheering her on. Yet, looming dark clouds didn't disappear so easily. Each laugh, each moment of connection made her feel alive and at the same time terrified of losing it. Would they be able to break through the barriers holding them back? As the storm raged on, a deeper question loomed. What were the lengths they would go to claim their lives free from judgment? The tension hung thick in the air, both thrilling and daunting. Emily took a deep breath, ready to face what lay ahead, but little did she know, a revelation awaited that would change everything they thought they knew about themselves. Emily's hands trembled slightly as she picked up another piece of debris. The rain had soaked through her clothes, heavy and clinging, but it felt strangely liberating. With each bit of trash they cleared, she felt a small part of her old self emerging, the artist buried deep under layers of self-doubt and fear. Catherine's laughter bubbled beside her, a bright spark in the damp air. Look at us, two muddy warriors saving this gala. Catherine's voice rang out, her eyes glinting with mischief. Next, we should get capes. Emily couldn't help but laugh, the sound mingling with the rain. Muddy warriors, huh? I think we need our own battle flag at this point. As they continued to work, the crowd of onlookers began to shift. What had originally been a spectacle of judgment was slowly morphing into something else, something more akin to intrigue. A few of the guests, initially skeptical, were now leaning closer, whispering amongst themselves, their expressions softened. Emily noticed a young girl, no more than 10, watching with wide eyes, her mouth slightly agape in fascination. Hey, check her out, Catherine said, nudging Emily and tilting her head toward the girl. Looks like we've got ourselves a fan. Yeah, but do you think she thinks we're crazy? Emily mused, her smile fading for a moment. Doubt crept back, wrapping around her heart like a vice. What if the muddy chaos that felt so freeing to her was just another reason to dismiss them? Who cares? Catherine replied, brushing off her worries with a wave of her hand. Crazy is just another word for passionate. Besides, it takes guts to be yourself, especially when everyone else is busy trying to fit into their mold. The truth in Catherine's words resonated with Emily as she glanced back at the girl, who now smiled and seemed to be mimicking their movements, throwing her own imaginary pieces of garbage aside. In that moment, Emily understood. A flicker of recognition sparked within her. Suddenly, thunder rumbled again, but this time it felt less ominous. Instead, It was a reminder of the storm that had brought them here, pushing them to confront their truths. Okay, let us show them what this is really about, Emily declared, newfound resolve surging through her. Catherine beamed, and together they grabbed handfuls of sticks and debris, tossing them aside like confetti. The guests were now witnessing a transformation. Laughter erupted, not just from Catherine and Emily, but from scattered voices in the crowd. Faces lit up, skepticism gave way to amusement, and some even began to join in. One woman from the spectator group, her pearls still intact, planted herself beside Emily and expertly maneuvered around the muck, surprisingly joining their effort. Why not? This is way more fun than pretending everything is perfect, the woman exclaimed, laughter in her voice. It sparked a ripple effect. More guests stepped forward, hesitantly at first, but soon breaking into spontaneous smiles. Emily felt overwhelmed, her heart swelling. This was more than just about cleaning up a mess. It was a cathartic release for everyone involved. Each laugh it echoed back to her, each new hand joining them, chipped away at her insecurities, revealing layers of confidence she thought she'd lost forever. But then she caught sight of the woman who had cast doubt on them earlier. The look of disdain was replaced, if only slightly, with confusion. Could it be possible that even she might let go of her judgment? As Emily caught Catherine's eye, both women shared a glance that spoke volumes. Everything was beginning to shift. The rain was letting up, and the darkness that had loomed felt lighter somehow. But then Emily's breath hitched in her throat as she caught an unexpected familiar figure in the crowd, someone from her past, someone she never thought she'd see again, and the memories flooded back with a rush of emotion. Would this reunion bring more judgment or understanding? Questions raced in her mind, each more pressing than the last. What if this moment was meant to change everything? What if this encounter led to a deeper reckoning, one more personal and profound than the muddy chaos they had embraced moments earlier? Emily's heart pounded as she recognized the figure in the crowd. It was Sarah, her college roommate, with the same striking amber hair and sharp eyes that had once pierced through the walls Emily had built around herself. They hadn't spoken in years. Emily had assumed Sarah had moved on with her polished life, leaving behind the mess of their friendship amidst whispers and unresolved fights. As lightning flashed overhead, illuminating Sarah's uncertain expression, Emily felt a swell of anxiety. What would she say? Would they slip into those old patterns of misunderstanding and hurt? Just as she braced herself, Catherine nudged her, breaking the spell. "Hey, it's your past catching up to you," she joked, her tone light yet supportive. "Yeah, I can see that," Emily replied, forcing a smile even as her stomach twisted into knots. Sarah was slowly approaching, her heels now caked in mud, just like everyone else's. It was strangely grounding. "Emily?" Sarah called out, her voice wavering as she stepped closer. The crowd seemed to fade into the background, and the entire world shrank until it was just the two of them. Sarah. The name felt heavy on her tongue, like something she hadn't used in a long time. Emily reached for that familiar warmth, but found only apprehension. Wow. I didn't expect to see you here," Sarah said, looking around as if seeking confirmation from the muddy chaos around them. Emily couldn't help but chuckle, the absurdity of the situation breaking through her nerves. "Neither did I. It's not exactly how I pictured our reunion." Sarah's eyes danced over the scene, witnessing the transformation happening around them. "I know I was tough on you back then. I just wanted you to see how talented you were, how much you had to offer." "That's just it," Emily shot back, feeling a rush of defensiveness. "You thought I needed fixing. You were so focused on that mold." The words hung in the air, raw and charged. For a moment Sarah frowned, her gaze softer but still filled with uncertainty. "But maybe that mold was what held me back," Emily continued, taking a breath to calm the storm of feelings within her. The muddy laughter of those around her welled up a sense of courage she hadn't felt in ages. Just then, Catherine broke in. "Hey, let us just celebrate this craziness. We're a team now. Don't you think it's time we stop worrying about fitting in?" Sarah glanced between Emily and Catherine, then slowly nodded. "You're right." Her voice was steadier now, though edged with vulnerability. Maybe I've been missing the point. People need to feel free to be messy, to be who they are. In that shared moment of vulnerability, something inside Emily shifted. Perhaps this was an opportunity, a doorway to something she hadn't dared to imagine, a way to let the past slip into a new understanding. What if we all just let go? Emily suggested, her heart racing at the idea, her own voice echoing in her mind. If we turned this whole thing into a celebration of, well, chaos? Laughter erupted again as Sarah grinned, her earlier tension fading. Like a mud festival? A muddy gala, where everyone is welcome. Catherine chimed in, with an enthusiastic nod. The crowd began to murmur, caught up in their infectious energy. One by one, more people started letting loose. They were throwing debris and laughter, colors blending with the rain, transforming the somber event into a vivid display of joy. Emily noticed the little girl again, her laughter ringing like a bell. With her head spinning from the whirlwind of feelings, Emily turned back to Sarah, searching for clarity and connection. But before she could say anything more, a sharp cry pierced through the jubilant noise. "Look out!" Someone yelled as a flash of light streaked through the sky. A gasp swept across the crowd as they collectively turned to where dark clouds loomed ominously overhead, their threatening presence swallowing the last rays of light. Emily's heart dropped, dread creeping in again. She glanced at Catherine, who was now grabbing her arm tight, a mix of excitement and fear on her face. "What's happening?" Catherine gasped, eyes wide. What did this turbulent turn in the weather mean for them? Would they hold on to this feeling of freedom, or would the storm consume them just as they were starting to rise? All around her, faces painted with a mix of glee and anxiety mirrored her own uncertainty, and Emily felt that rush once more. Could they navigate not just the rain, but the wild emotions swirling within them too? As thunder rumbled ominously, Emily took one last look at Sarah, fearful yet hopeful. What lay ahead could either wash away their new beginnings or forge an unexpected path forward. What choice would they make as the storm rolled in? Would they embrace the chaos, or retreat back to their accustomed safety? The wind picked up suddenly, sending a shudder through the crowd of mingled laughter and cries. Emily held her breath, uncertainty gnawing at her. She looked up at the darkened sky, feeling as if the universe was conspiring to test them right here, right now. "Everyone, stay calm," a voice broke through the tumult. A woman was waving her hands, trying to gather attention amidst the rising chaos. But just as Emily's heart raced with concern, she felt a tugging pull of excitement. There was something beautifully raw about this moment, the unpolished reality of people coming together, their joy untamed by impending storms. As the raindrops began to fall, they hit the muddy ground and splashed up around them, forming little messy puddles. Instead of retreating, people grew bolder. Laughter mingled with the rain, as they twirled and danced, letting the elements wash over them. "Look at that!" Catherine squealed, her face lighting up as she kicked her shoes off and leaped into a nearby puddle. "We're getting muddy anyway!" Emily couldn't help but laugh, the tension inside her lifting like the clouds above. Sarah's gaze met hers, uncertainty momentarily replaced with a glint of mischief. "Join us!" Sarah shouted, her voice barely audible over the sound of thunder. She took a hesitant step into the puddle, splashing water toward Emily, a gesture full of playful rebellion. Before she knew it, Emily was laughing without restraint, stepping forward and allowing the cool mud to ooze between her toes. The barrier of their past felt almost like a distant heartbeat now, thumping weakly but not quite out of reach. All around them, the crowd continued to thrive in the chaos, a vibrant sea of spinning bodies and joyful shrieks. Faces of friends and strangers alike blurred together, illuminated by flashes of lightning and laughter. "Are we really doing this?" Emily shouted over the din. It amazed her how an act as simple as muddying their shoes could turn everything upside down, changing their dynamic in an instant. "Yeah," Sarah laughed, finally letting loose. "Who cares about image now?" In that heartfelt chaos, Emily felt a spark of connection between them. Their history, so tangled, was now becoming a part of this celebration. She felt empowered to speak amidst the noise. "Sarah, I am sorry for the tension in our past. but I want to do this differently now. Yes. Sarah's eyes shone as she stepped closer, mud splattering onto her jeans. What if we start fresh? As thunder cracked louder, a smile spread across Emily's face. It felt like the weight of old wounds was being washed away with each raindrop that fell. Okay, then fresh it is. They shared a knowing nod that seemed to dissolve old misunderstandings. It was exhilarating. Emily felt brand new, raw and unfiltered, yet somehow more free. Hey! Catherine interjected, spinning them back into the moment. Let's make this a proper party. Who's in for a mud fight? The suggestion ignited the crowd, and soon people were cheering, eager to break free from their inhibitions. As Emily and Sarah exchanged wild looks, they both took a step forward, choosing joy amidst the unpredictability ahead. As they got caught in the excitement, a voice rang out, piercing through the enthusiastic clamor, "Wait! Everyone look!" Emily's heart suddenly dropped as she turned to see a tall figure standing at the edge of the crowd, their expression serious, and their presence demanding attention. She felt the atmosphere shift, a charged tension filling the air as uncertainty loomed again. Who was that person, and what did they want? Would this sudden interruption pull them back into the confines of their past or wash away all the good that had begun to flourish? As the rain continued to fall, soaking her clothes and mingling with the thrill of newfound beginnings, Emily felt a storm of emotions brewing once more. What could this unexpected moment mean for all her hopes of a fresh start? The crowd hushed, a wave of silence washing over their joyous chaos as they turned to face the figure standing just at the edge of the dance. Emily squinted through the droplets pouring from the sky to catch a glimpse. It was a woman, tall and poised, with dark hair slicked back in a ponytail and a bright red coat that contrasted sharply against the murky background of rain and mud. "Is it the police?" Sarah whispered, suddenly serious, her playful demeanor dissipating in an instant. "No idea," Emily replied, her heart racing as the woman raised a hand for silence again, the crowd now fully focused. "I need your attention," the woman called out, her voice both commanding and tinged with urgency. "I'm Samantha Winters. I run the community outreach program in this neighborhood." She paused, scanning the crowd, her gaze landing on the small group of friends. "I know this event was meant to be a celebration, but I need to talk to you about something important. It concerns the community, and the future of this space." Emily felt a knot tighten in her stomach. The electricity of the moment felt heavy, like the air before a storm. Had they gotten too caught up in the fun? Much of what makes this community strong has been deteriorating: funding cuts, facilities falling apart, services dwindling. Samantha's voice softened yet remained firm. "But we can fight back. We're organizing a fundraising event next month, and we need volunteers. We want you to help." "Volunteers?" Catherine asked, baffled by the sudden shift from joyful freedom to responsibility. "You want us to help with a fundraiser and all this?" She indicated their mud-splattered clothes, still glistening with rain. "Yes. Exactly." Samantha's eyes sparkled. "You all have the spirit we need. Look around you. This is what community should be, a place that we come together and own, even when it gets messy. I see passion here, an energy that can revive what we have lost." The intensity of her gaze ignited something in Emily. Who was this woman, coming in with this seriousness amid their raucous joy? Yet, the way she spoke, bringing light to their chaos, made Emily rethink, again, what they were part of. The laughter, the mud, and the rain, perhaps this was representative of life itself, unpredictable and often messy but full of strength and joyous connection. Sarah turned to Emily, her brow knitted in contemplation. "Do you think maybe this is our chance? To be a part of something bigger?" Emily's heart soared at the thought. She thought about the struggles her town had faced, the faded parks and empty playgrounds, a fault line of neglect and division. "What if we can really do something with all this energy?" she murmured. "Exactly." Samantha nodded, her excitement spilling over. "But I need to know if you're in. We need fresh voices, fresh ideas. Will you help us?" As she spoke, Emily felt the weight of uncertainty lift, replaced by bubbling exhilaration. The mud, the rain, and now this opportunity to reshape their narrative. It felt like destiny had flipped the script again. Slowly, she raised her hand, a smile breaking across her muddy face. "I'm in." Catherine followed suit, and then Sarah, a chorus of agreement swelling among their friends. The crowd behind them began to cheer, caught up in the newfound momentum, their earlier hesitations melting away like the storm clouds overhead. But just as they turned back to the party, a rumble of thunder echoed ominously, and a shadow fell over the jubilant group. Samantha peered into the distance, eyes narrowing at a rising figure approaching, shrouded in the downpour. "Who's that?" Emily breathed, her excitement shifting to a tense curiosity. The celebration paused, apprehension creeping back into the air. They weren't done yet, and life was still pushing back. Who or what was coming next to disrupt their fresh start? As the shadow drew nearer, the rain blurred the edges of the figure into a mere silhouette. Emily's heart thundered along with the storm as she squinted, trying to make out details. A flash of white hair caught her eye. The figure was older, moving with a confident stride that somehow glimmered even within the darkened perimeter of the gathering. "What's happening?" Catherine whispered, her voice barely audible over the growing wind. "I don't know," Emily said, fear creeping up her spine. "But something tells me we should be ready for anything." Just then, the figure stepped into the light from the nearby street lamp. It was a woman, her silver locks cascading down her shoulders like a waterfall of light. She wore a long trench coat that looked entirely out of place against the backdrop of mud and rain. As the crowd inhaled collectively, the energy shifted. Whispers buzzed through as people leaned closer to get a better look. "Who is she?" Sarah murmured, her brows furrowing. I think that's Miss Davies," Emily said, recalling the tales of the wealthy widow who lived in the sprawling mansion on the hill. "She has been known to fund community projects, but she has mostly kept to herself." Emily felt something shift in the air, a mix of anticipation and intrigue. Miss Davies had always been a figure of mystery, a guardian angel to some and a ghost to others. Samantha stepped forward, clearly as taken by the unexpected visitor as the rest of them. "Miss Davies, what brings you out to the park in this weather?" "I had heard rumors of a celebration," Miss Davies replied, her voice smooth and resonant. Then her gaze swept over the muddy gathering. "But what's this I see? A ragtag rebellion against neglect?" The crowd chuckled, tension loosening slightly. A kinship started to form, creating a bridge between wealth and wanting, connection forging through laughter. "Incredibly messy," Samantha replied, "but it's the spirit of our community shining through." "Indeed," Miss Davies nodded, hands on her hips, her expression turning serious. "Which brings me to my reason for coming. I want to talk about the fundraising event." "What do you mean?" Emily ventured forward, her curiosity sparking further. "I've watched this place suffer while potential blossoms all around it. I can help. But I require something in return." "What's that?" Catherine asked, her eyes wide. "I need passion, dedication, and the vigor to drive this community back to life." Her gaze settled on Emily and her friends. "I see it in you, and I'm offering my resources to help you lead the charge." A murmur of disbelief rippled through the crowd. Emily couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. Could this be the breakthrough they needed? But Miss Davies continued, her voice lower now, each word heavy with importance. "This is not just a handout. You must commit to this mission as if your lives depend on it. Because, in many ways, they do." The thunder cracked again, this time sounding like an exclamation point from above. Emily exchanged glances with her friends, the weight of the decision descending but also elevating their spirits. Could they really grasp this opportunity, one that felt even more significant than the dance they had just shared? "Are you in?" Miss Davies' gaze hardened, searching their faces, waiting for an answer that would change everything. Emily took a deep breath, adrenaline coursing through her veins, her smile blossoming anew. "Yes. We're in." The crowd erupted in cheers, warm bodies vibrating with anticipation. But then, out of the periphery, a distant shout broke through the thunder's song, sending another ripple of tension through the crowd. "Wait!" Someone shouted from the spine of darkness behind them, causing everyone to turn once more. Who was that, and what did they want now? The storm had entwined emotions tightly, teasing them with hope yet challenging them with uncertainty. The journey was only just beginning. As the crowd turned in unison, the rain pelted harder, creating a symphony of chaos against the dramatic backdrop. From the shadows emerged a young man, soaked through but visibly agitated, his dark hair clinging to his forehead. Emily squinted to catch a glimpse of his expression, a mixture of anxiety and determination etched across his features. "Who are you?" Miss Davies asked, her authority slicing through the chatter like lightning. "Isaac," he shouted back, his voice straining against the storm. "I live here, not too far from the park. I've seen what you've been doing and—" His breath caught, urgency fueling his plea. "You can't just assume that this community wants your help." Gasps rippled through the crowd, the energy shifting sharply. Emily felt her heart drop. Was Isaac really going to reject this lifeline? "What do you mean?" Catherine quipped, stepping closer to him, motioning towards Miss Davies, who stood firmly in place. "What's wrong with having a little support?" "Support?" He laughed bitterly, catching the crowd off guard. "You think throwing money at our problems will fix everything? You have no idea what we actually need." The crowd murmured, some nodding in agreement. Emily's chest tightened. This wasn't what they had hoped for, not after feeling the spark of hope ignited by Miss Davies. "I'm not here to undermine anyone," Miss Davies replied, her tone steady but not without emotion. "I am here to partner with you, Isaac. But I can't do this alone. I need to know what it is you truly want." Isaac paused, his composure faltering as he looked around the group of eager faces. It was true. He had felt the despair around him, the aching need for change that went beyond monetary aid. "We don't need a handout. We need strength." His voice softened, sincerity spilling into his words. "Unity, real connection, not just an event where we smile and nod for the cameras." Emily felt a wave of understanding wash over her. She had spent so long dreaming of change, but Isaac was right. The community needed to feel empowered, not just supported. There was more at stake than just funding. It was about their voices being heard, their stories rising above the noise. "So what do you suggest?" Emily asked, stepping forward, driven by a sense of responsibility. She could feel her friends behind her, their solidarity palpable. Isaac took a deep breath, fists clenching at his sides. "We form a committee. A real one. We get our neighbors involved, plan events that reflect our hopes, not just fill our pockets." Miss Davies' eyes widened as she absorbed his words, a flicker of respect crossing her features. "You're right. True transformation comes from collaboration, not a paycheck. But how do we begin?" "Let us start today," Catherine chimed in, pride swelling in her voice. "Right here, right now. This storm won't stop us." The wind whipped through the park as the crowd rallied around Isaac, support flaring brighter than the lightning illuminating the sky. Emily felt a renewed sense of purpose, her heart racing as excitement mingled with fear. Would they really have the courage to embark on this journey together, into the unknown? There's no turning back now, she thought, glancing at her friends, echoing Isaac's resolve. "Tomorrow starts with us." As they began to strategize, the storm began to quiet down, the clouds parting just enough for a glimmer of moonlight to peek through. Amid the hushed conversations, Emily's excitement brewed. They could lead the charge after all. But just as she felt a swell of hope, another voice called, echoing through the clearing air, "What about the plan for the fundraiser? Who would step up next to challenge their momentum? Was their unity strong enough to weather the coming storm of uncertainties?" Emily turned towards the voice, her heart rushing as she recognized it belonged to Mark, the local business owner known for his stubbornness. He stood tall, arms crossed, a look of skepticism plastered across his face. "Isaac's right," Mark said, scanning the crowd. "You all want to do something real, but what's the plan? How are we going to gather people for this committee? Who's going to lead it?" The question hung in the air like the remnants of the storm clouds above, heavy with expectation. Emily felt the weight of the moment, the urgency of Mark's candor creating ripples of uncertainty among the crowd. Let us not overthink this, Isaac interjected, his anxiety resurfacing. We start by getting people to share what matters. Set up a time when we can talk, listen, let their voices echo. And what about reaching those who can't come? Mark challenged, his brow furrowed. Not everyone is going to swing by just because we set up a meeting. We can knock on doors, Catherine suggested, her eyes lighting up with the idea. Invite them personally. Make it about them, not just us. The crowd buzzed with the possibility. Someone shouted out, what about social media? We can reach so many more. Another voice chimed in, we should create a flyer, something people can hold on to. Emily's excitement bubbled back up. This was the teamwork she had longed for. They were bouncing ideas off one another, weaving a tapestry of connection. She felt empowered, her thoughts racing ahead to what could come next. Great ideas, everyone! Ms. Davies encouraged, her voice cutting through the chatter like a beacon. This is exactly the spirit we need. But we have to assign roles. Roles? Mark scoffed. What if nobody is willing to take the lead? Then, let us have everyone share their strengths. Emily insisted, looking around. We all have something to give. It can't all fall on one or two people. As a chorus of agreements rippled through the group, Emily breathed a sigh of relief. Fear was fluctuating, but hope was rising. There was a sudden sound of clapping and laughter, rising together with the humidity still hanging in the air. All right, let us do this. Isaac shouted, his determination shining through. We can have meetings weekly. We'll keep it open and transparent. Then let us put together a plan for the first meeting today, Ms. Davies said, her gaze steady. When and where are we going to do this? Let us meet back here tomorrow at 6, Emily proposed, adrenaline coursing through her veins. And then, we can break up into teams to spread the word. Right. The crowd erupted in agreement, their voices joining in a cacophony of shared purpose. It felt electric, the energy buzzing around them. But the moment of unity was cut short when the atmosphere shifted. Someone from the back yelled, and what about the fundraising? We still have bills to pay. Those don't wait. Emily's heart sank. They had just taken a big step forward, but the looming reality of their financial struggles was about to pull them back. Isaac's shoulders tensed. We need to focus on our vision first. We can find ways to fund our ideas later. But how long will that take? Mark shot back. We need cash now. A tense silence followed, uncertainty creeping back in like the tendrils of storm clouds above. Emily could feel the crackling tension between them. Could they sustain this newfound hope, or was it just an illusion hanging on the edge of despair? Would their dreams of unity withstand the harsh reality of their needs? As doubt loomed, Emily took a deep breath, searching for the strength within. We can figure out both, she said, her voice steady despite the unpredictability in the air. But we have to keep our spirits high to even have a chance. We can't give up now. Would they agree? What would it take for them to navigate this tangled path of hope and hardship together? The rain had finally slowed to a gentle drizzle, the storm's fury ebbing away as the last thunder clapped its farewell. It felt like nature itself was taking a breath, giving space for something new to emerge. Emily stood in the heart of the crowd, the muddy ground beneath her shoes feeling surprisingly solid despite the chaos. Let us work this out together, she shouted. Her voice surged with determination, cutting through the lingering doubt clinging like the dampness on their clothes. We can build a plan that addresses both our dreams and realities. But we must commit to working as one. Eyes turned to her. Faces, once filled with doubt, now shimmered with the flickers of understanding. Encouragement began to spread, whispers igniting like sparks. She's right. A fellow cleaner called out, her fingers muddy but steady. If we put our hearts into this, we can make both happen. Catherine stepped forward, her vibrant spirit resonating with Emily's enthusiasm. Exactly. We can hold the fundraiser while engaging our neighbors, fostering authentic connections. We have momentum, let's ride this wave. Excitement pulsated through the crowd as people began brainstorming. They tossed around ideas like a game of catch-bake sales, local art shows, talent nights in the park. Each suggestion added another layer to their growing vision, a beautiful tapestry stitched together with threads of hope and camaraderie. And we can use social media! Emily exclaimed, her heart racing. Every penny we raise can funnel back into community programs, art initiatives, whatever it takes. The crowd grew louder, voices swelling with energy. The tension that had gripped the air morphed into laughter, and one elderly man shouted, "I'll bake pies." As the crowd started to buzz with enthusiasm, Isaac stepped forward. "And I'll handle the community outreach. We need to ensure everyone feels they belong." Emily felt an unusual warmth washing over her. This is what had been missing: connection, authenticity, a collective forge against apathy. Ms. Davies beamed, a proud smile forming. This is the kind of unity our community has been craving. Let us not just plan a fundraiser, let us plan a movement. Her voice was full of fervor. Each one of you brings something unique. Together, we can inspire action and bring hope to others. As the crowd began to finalize their plans, Emily felt light. The muddy chaos around her transformed into a living tapestry of dreams and ambitions. In that instant, she recognized how powerful collaboration could be. As laughter mixed with an optimistic hum, their focus shifted. Conversations began to intertwine, visions blossoming. Emily could see it: a vibrant community meeting happening in that very park, neighbors bringing dishes from their kitchens, children painting banners, excitement bubbling everywhere. Minutes turned into hours as they strategized, sketching out flyers, announcing meeting times, and energizing their neighborhood. This wasn't just about restoring the park. It was about cultivating laughter, connections, and love. Standing at the center of it all, Emily spotted Sarah again, her eyes bright with a newfound determination. "This can be the start of something beautiful," she said, stepping closer. "Let us not ever lose that sense of togetherness, even when, sometimes, it gets messy." "Messy," Emily repeated, the word rolling off her tongue. "It's part of life. Embracing that is what will allow us to grow." "You're right. We need to stay committed to each other." With the final plans in place, as dusk settled, warm hues danced across the sky, an omen of serenity after a raucous storm. Bowing out of the frenzy, Emily took a moment to appreciate her surroundings. There, amidst smiles and laughter, was family, her children playing in puddles nearby, joyfully spotted in their own muddy chaos. They were looking to her, eyes gleaming, seeing strength and hope blossoming from what had once felt utterly lost. Just then, a little girl from the crowd approached, still wide-eyed and beaming. "Are we really going to have a mud festival?" she asked, voice pure and innocent. "Yes," Emily exclaimed, her heart bursting. "And it's going to be amazing. This is only the beginning." With newfound laughter mingling alongside shared resolve, Emily knew they had conquered more than just the storm. They had broken barriers, forged friendships, and opened the door to a brighter future. As the crowd gradually dispersed, excited whispers filled the air, plans eagerly shared among friends. Emily smiled, knowing their journey was just beginning. This was the transformation they needed. United, they would breathe new life into their community, because the messiness of life was where true beauty thrived. Emily's heart swelled with an unmistakable joy. Each moment shimmered with possibility, the promise of hope lacing through their shared laughter. In that muddy park, she felt fully alive. And now, it's your turn to be part of this journey. Don't wait any longer. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help the algorithm grow and reach even more amazing people. Comment below your feelings about this incredible ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation. You need to show your support, because only true fans understand the importance of being part of this vibrant community.